What's up guys, this is FlamingVictini and welcome back to Pokemon Showdown. This time I've brought the semifinals of Smogon Tour 20 and we've got McMeghan versus PDC. They're going to be playing the black and white game first, and McMeghan has once again brought Reuniclus, which he has brought all three of his black and white games, and he brought Dugtrio his last game as well, and he brought it again this game, which is kind of interesting. PDC has brought a Volcarona offense team, and Volcarona's chances against McMeghan in this game is really good. McMeghan doesn't really have anything. If that Volcarona is Bug Buzz, sometimes they're not Bug Buzz, but if it's Bug Buzz, he can definitely break through McMeghan's team. Assuming the Dugtrio is Focus Sash, then PDC would have to break that potential Sash, and you would probably have to get a little bit of damage on that Tyranitar, since you can probably tank 1+1 Bug Buzz from full HP in the sand. But other than that, he can probably just set up on the Reuniclus and win with the Volcarona. And so, PDC leads off the Garchomp against McMeghan's Reuniclus. I'm assuming we'll just see Rocks from Garchomp here. We might see SD later on to stop this Reuniclus from... Oh my god. So, we actually see Trick Flame Orb from Reuniclus. Now, what I was going to say to stop Calm Mind from Reuniclus. Now, I'm not sure if McMeghan would still have Calm Mind on the Reuniclus now that he's dedicated a slot to Trick Flame Orb, rather than, I guess he wouldn't need Focus Blast because most people don't run two Dark types, and once you Trick Flame Orb that Dark type, you can stall it out with the burn, especially since most are physical. So I guess this could still be Calm Mind Reuniclus. PDC, I don't know, that Jirachi is looking to be Scarf to me, and I guess some sort of band or setup Terrakion. And so PDC might go for the Swords Dance. He might choose to switch out to his Jirachi or his, like, Volcarona here is a little too early. Like, I don't know, it's really tough to set up with Volcarona, because if this is Calm Mind, then he can Psyshock the Volcarona. And considering how bulky the Reuniclus is, it may not die to Bug Buzz, since both are at +1. PDC could set up Volcarona on the Rotom Wash if it's Pasho Berry, I guess, or if it's at full HP, but that doesn't really fit well, and he does need the damage on T-Tar, so Volt doesn't make too much sense here. I can see, yeah, Swords Dance comes, and McMeghan does have the Calm Mind, so this is a little tricky for PDC. Since he's burned, that Swords Dance basically negates the burn, but Reuniclus is so bulky that this Earthquake's definitely not going to 2 a KO, so PDC might choose to go for another Swords Dance, so that he can at least force this Reuniclus out or get over 50% of damage on it. Now, potentially the Reuniclus can just recover stall, but McMeghan does also have that Skarmory, so yeah, we do see Psyshock on the Garchomp. Garchomp will die to 2 more turns of burn. McMeghan could elect to recover spam here. He could also just go to Skarmory so he can get up a little bit of, probably a Spike. And PDC probably... Yeah, I think we'll see Skarm right here, as we do see Skarm, and it goes, and yeah, Garchomp goes for the Earthquake. I assume PDC would want to save this Garchomp, get a little sack fodder. That stuff is really important for offensive teams, so we'd most likely be seeing a Starmie here. I mean, McMeghan's not going for a Brave Bird or anything like that. Starmie can definitely pressure out the Skarmory, so yeah, we do see Starmie come in on that Skarmory. The T-Tar is probably not Scarf, so the T-Tar is probably not trapping the Starmie, unless, like, the thing is, in general, I don't think the T-Tar would want to be trapping the Starmie, because you want to keep that a little bit healthy for the Volcarona. Now, alternatively, the way McMeghan can play around Volcarona is to just stop its setup and get up Rocks with his Tyranitar. That would also work to stop the Volcarona. But if he can stop setup, of course. But we do see the Starmie go for the Hydro Pump, the Analytic Life Orb Hydro Pump on the Rotom Wash switching. It does a solid 34%. So I presume that without Analytic it'll do around 21, 22, somewhere around that range. And McMeghan goes for the Volt Switch on the Garchomp sack. That's where keeping the sacks comes into play. Although it does let that Rotom Wash get a little more leftover recovery. PDC's best way to threaten this really is Latios. Yeah, Latios looks like the best way to threaten his team. Again, if McMeghan goes into his T-Tar, and takes that damage from the Draco Meteor, then he has to play really aggressively to stop Volcarona from getting any chance of hit. He has to be really careful about stopping Starmie from spinning. He has no spin blocker. So McMeghan just can't go to T-Tar here. It doesn't really work out, because if the T-Tar eventually, let's say the T-Tar gets up rocks and somehow places Latios, and then the T-Tar later dies, then Starmie would be able to spin later on, unless somehow McMeghan could pressure with Dugtrio so much that he would be able to stop. Unless he can pressure with Dugtrio so much that he'd be able to stop any rapid spin. Although that actually is looking like choice carb, so you can probably force a Dugtrio and get a spin that way. So yeah, T-Tar doesn't make sense. McMeghan does go to Skarmory, and we see the Life Orb Draco Meteor do a solid 50%. Now that Skarmory is displayed as 26% health, but I think Showdown rounds up sometimes. Yeah, like, because sometimes 13% Mons die to Stealth Rocks when they're neutral to Stealth Rocks, so this Draco Meteor might or might not kill the Skarmory. If PDC has Thunderbolt or HP Fire, that should be able to take out the Skarmory. We could see an HP Fire from PDC. Thunderbolt, I don't know, Thunderbolt's, he doesn't, like, I don't even know what Thunderbolt's role, like, because it doesn't, I don't know, I feel HP Fire is better on PDC's team than Thunderbolt, and I don't think he'd want to risk Draco Meteor if he does have HP Fire or Thunderbolt. McMeghan could go to Tyranitar predicting HP Fire or Thunderbolt, especially since he gets a Sand Boost and Latios is at -2, but again, that's more damage. But what he does gain from that, if he does switch it on an HP Fire, barely takes any damage, and he can save that Skarmory for a sack, which could come very useful later on, but he does leave the Skarmory to die, and McMeghan brings in the Tyranitar on the Latios. We could see a Pursuit here, but PDC might want to go for... Latios is really useful as a ground immunity to Dugtrio. So, seeing that, McMeghan might want to just go for the Pursuit and just ensure that he removes the Latios. Because if he can ensure that he removes the Latios, and also... it's probably bulky. That T-Tar is probably bulky, and so it's probably not taking too much from Draco Meteors with Sand, and now that Latios already has -2, and yup, there we see the Pursuit on the Latios. PDC brings in the Terrakion. PDC might want to go, there are two options. This could be choiced, it could have Banded Exizor, which would be fine, a perfectly fine play right here. Or it could be SD, potentially Rock Polish, SD Quick Attack. And the thing is, if he kills his Tyranitar, Dugtrio comes in. But Tyranitar, is Dugtrio the rocker, or is Tyranitar the rocker? Like, I think last time McMeghan had Scarf Garchomp and Rocker Dugtrio. So, I don't know, it's a tough choice for PDC, but I think since PDC doesn't know where McMeghan has the rocks, like, if he knew T-Tar had the rocks, I think he might go straight for the close combat, because it might be a little tough to remove those rocks now that he's lost his ground immunity. So Dugtrio can really pressure with rocks up, but since he doesn't know, he might just go for a Swords Dance right here. Assuming he has Swords Dance, and yes, we do see Swords Dance as McMeghan goes for the Stealth Rocks. So now PDC, if he has Rock Polish, the Rock Polish doesn't even really work, because then McMeghan's best play is definitely to go into Reuniclus right here. I say definitely because, like there's no reason to sack this T-Tar. You might need that later. And the Reuniclus is just set up fodder for Volcarona, assuming he can remove rocks. It doesn't really do that much other than checking this Terrakion. And, like, even if PDC goes for 2 Stone Edges and removes the Reuniclus, then the Dugtrio can just come in and revenge kill this Terrakion. So, really, if PDC goes for the Rock Polish, then McMeghan will want to remove this Terrakion with the Psyshock, and he can tank a +2 Stone Edge if he switches in on the Rock Polish. But if PDC does not go for the Rock Polish, then McMeghan might want to sack his Reuniclus and purposefully not kill the Terrakion, because if he kills the Terrakion, then that means that PDC can bring in his Starmie on the Reuniclus and Rapid Spin, and T-Tar probably can't come in. Sorry guys, got interrupted, but what I was trying to say is the T-Tar probably can't come in on the Starmie to spin. Like, if the Starmie spins on the switch to Tyranitar, then Starmie will be able to Hydro, it'll already have removed the rocks. Whereas, now 1v1, if the rocks haven't been removed yet, then McMeghan can just spam Stealth Rocks, and he's guaranteed to have them up at the end of the conflict, because he can remove Starmie with the Dugtrio. So in that sense, Tyranitar definitely still has some value, whereas this Reuniclus is kind of set up fodder it's kind of just like a liability at this point, because the Starmie can Rapid Spin on the Reuniclus if PDC's Terrakion goes down, and alternatively the Volcarona can potentially set up on the Reuniclus, assuming it doesn't have any Calm Mind boosts, which would be pretty hard for PDC to pull off, but I guess it could happen. So, and I actually learned that the Volcarona is actually Giga Drain HP Ice, so it does not have Bug Buzz, which is definitely gonna play into the way PDC plays this game. Since this Volcarona doesn't have Bug Buzz, it isn't as a big threat to McMeghan Psychics, but it can hit the Rotom Wash considerably harder and gain HP from that, so that's definitely something to consider. Okay, so the Terrakion went for the Stone Edge as McMeghan actually goes for the Calm Mind with his Reuniclus. Now that may seem a little bit odd, but it's actually a really nice play, because that way he's trying to, in case PDC misses, that way PDC still has to kill that Reuniclus, and assuming PDC misses and then he tries to Swords Dance again or something like that, then at that point McMeghan can go for the Psyshock and kind of just go from there, because like then now he has that. Well, I mean, it's kind of odd, like, PDC switching out his Terrakion into a Starmie right there is really odd play, although I guess it's relying on Jirachi's ability to beat the Reuniclus, which did have the Rocky Helmet since it tricked that from the Garchomp, which is actually SD Rocky Helmet, which is actually pretty interesting. But PDC realizes he just has to go for the Stone Edge again, and he goes for the Stone Edge. We do see Quick Attack on the Terrakion, so in hindsight, if he Swords Danced on the Reuniclus's Calm Mind, he might have been able to win the game. I mean, McMeghan has the Latias, but then he could stop the Dugtrio, and that way he can get off the Rapid Spin. But really, that's a hindsight play. Like, there's no way you would have been able to make that play unless you're just absolute Jesus. There's no way you would have been able to make that play before you knew McMeghan was going to go for the Calm Mind. I mean, you might be able to expect it, but that's really risky to expect. So yeah, PDC does go into his Jirachi, and he says, if you are Scarf, I will kill myself. So if McMeghan has Scarf Dugtrio, PDC is definitely not going to kill himself. He'll just be really upset. But PDC might just go on autopilot U-turn here, although the thing is, if McMeghan brings in, like, McMeghan wouldn't want to go straight to his Rotom, I feel, because on Jirachi U-turn, then he can bring in his Starmie and Rapid Spin on that Rotom. And then the scenario I said about Rapid Spinning on the T-Tar switch would come about. But yeah, this is really nice. By McMeghan going into his T-Tar, now PDC either has to go to his Volcarona and take the hazards, which defeats the purpose of spinning, really, well, kind of, or he can go to his Starmie, and there's no way he can guarantee that the Stealth Rocks won't go off the field, because McMeghan can just spam Stealth Rocks here, and then he can go to Dugtrio and trap the Starmie. So we might see PDC go for the Rapid Spin just to remove those spikes, but McMeghan's definitely just going to spam Stealth Rock here until his T-Tar goes down. And that was actually really nicely done by McMeghan. If PDC went for the Iron Head on the T-Tar switch, it might have been a little different. He would have forced in that Rotom Wash, and then he might have been able... Well, I mean, he maybe sack Jirachi. No, it's a little iffy, because the Rotom Wash can Volt Switch to kill the Jirachi. So, like, even if the Iron Head is a little iffy, unless he gets a lot of flinches. But at this point, the only way PDC is winning is with flinches. So you might have as well given yourself another chance there. Although I can understand U-turn expecting the Rotom, but like T-Tar has just been such a nice play by McMeghan. So Jirachi comes in as the Dugtrio revenges that Starmie, and I guess PDC is just gonna go for the Iron Head. He can't U-turn at this point. I don't think he can U-turn. If that's bulky Latias, like, no, like, No, he has to Iron Head. U-turn doesn't make sense to me. McMeghan would save the Dugtrio too. He would probably... No, well, if he U-turns on the Rotom Wash... Like, let's say he hypothetically gets the Volcarona in on the Rotom Wash and still has his Jirachi. Theoretically, I mean, if he had Bug Buzz, he could go for it there, get off damage on the Rotom Wash, and then the number of flinches you need with the Jirachi on the Rotom Wash severely lessens, and Jirachi can beat the Dugtrio and the Latias. But McMeghan would probably want to not lose his Rotom to the Volcarona. So, he would probably, if Volcarona came in on the Rotom Wash, he would probably just sack Latias, go Dugtrio, and then, yeah, probably just sack Latias, go Dugtrio, kill the Volcarona, and then Jirachi's back to killing the Rotom Wash, but he does gain the extra Stealth Rock damage, which is equivalent to a little bit more than one flinch. So, right here, PDC has no other option. He has to, like, to go to Volcarona here is kind of insane. Like, I mean, McMeghan can go for the Will-O-Wisp, and if he goes for the Will-O-Wisp, that's really good for him. But he could also just go for a Hydro Pump. I mean, I think at this point McMeghan most likely will go for the Will-O-Wisp, but we actually see that PDC goes straight for the Iron Head, gets that first flinch. And looking at that damage, 9%, not sure if that's a high or lower roll, but it won't matter too much when you're doing that little damage. I think it'll take him around 4 more flinches, well, 3 more flinches, 4 more Iron Heads to defeat the Rotom Wash. The sand is definitely working in PDC's favor here to stop those leftovers recovery. He gets the second flinch. Now, as we go down closer and closer, McMeghan is probably more and more tempted to go for a Pain Split. So PDC might elect to switch in his Volcarona on a Pain Split or a predicted Will-O-Wisp. McMeghan is much less likely to go for the Hydro Pump at this point in the game, now that Rotom Wash has gone low. Then, yeah, like, the more damage PDC gets on this Rotom Wash, the less likely it is to go for Hydro Pump. Like, especially if you flinch the next one, he's gotta go for a Will-O-Wisp or Pain Split. Like, to go for Hydro Pump is not a play McMeghan would make. So, at that point, you might be able to go into the Volcarona, get those extra Stealth Rock damages, get that extra Stealth Rock damage, and then from there, you'd require a less flinch to beat the Rotom Wash and win with Jirachi. PDC does stay, he gets the next flinch. So, really, he should go Volcarona here. I really think he should. Because McMeghan's gonna go, well, okay, there's Pain Split. Okay, I can understand why you wouldn't go Volcarona, because if McMeghan goes for the Pain Split, then that'll probably make up for the damage you'll deal from Stealth Rocks, assuming he goes for the Will-O-Wisp. But I mean, there it is. So PDC goes for the Iron Head and gets burned, does not flinch, that last flinch he needed. So right there, if he did go to Volcarona, I think he would have just won the game. Because from there, he can force the Rotom Wash to switch out, or just kill the Rotom Wash, and then Jirachi beats the Dugtrio and the Latias. But instead, PDC gets burned. He flinches the Rotom Wash, so it does die to the sand. But I mean, that might actually be good for McMeghan, because McMeghan wouldn't want to have his Volcarona in on the Jirachi and go for a Hydro Pump miss and then lose because of that. So we actually see something really interesting right here. The Latias goes for the Calm Mind, and looking at the damage, it's looking like some sort, and just the fact that it went for the Calm Mind and it's the Latias, it's probably a bulky Latias. So I guess in that hindsight play where he could have, if he SD'd with Terrakion on the Reuniclus's Calm Mind, he would just won the game. But that's just not a play. Like, I'm not going to consider that. That's just not a play you make, because that's something you would consider in hindsight, not something you would make in that state of the game before McMeghan went for the Calm Mind, before you knew he would go for the Calm Mind. So PDC does not get the flinch right there, and the Latias is able to go for the Calm Mind. That might work against PDC's favor, because now he has no the chances of setting up with Volcarona on the Latias and then killing it with HP Ice when it's +1 and it's bulky, just no. But I mean, you are getting damage off on it, so the thing is, there are two ways PDC can do this. PDC can crit the Latias or get like super high. I don't even think high rolls will do it. Crit the Latias so that he'll die, so that McMeghan is forced to bring in Doug Trio when Jirachi's around 8%, I think. And then, no, 4%. Nah, 3%, whatever. And he does not get the flinch on that turn. If he gets the flinch right here, it'll do 38%. That'll knock out the Latias. Crits are 2 times in black and white. So if he gets a crit here, he will win the game. If he does not get the crit here, then he has to hope that Volcarona can somehow tank some hit and come through. But yeah, those Iron Heads are doing too much. I mean, it did 17%. So if his earlier Iron Head did not do 19%, and then it did, like, also did 17%, the Latias might have lived. And if it got flinched, Volcarona might have been able to set up on a +1 D pulse. Like, I don't, like, it's 3 attacks of Volk though, so I don't think it's bulky. It'll have some bulk investment, but it's not really bulky now. So yeah, this Doug Trio is looking like it's choice banded, so Earthquake should be able to take off the Volcarona. And McMeghan says, I'm not CB, LOL. So if this is not choice banded Doug Trio, and this is bulky Volcarona, then Earthquake would fail to kill the Volcarona and PDC could win. McMeghan could risk the Stone Edge, but PDC says he's not bulky, and I think he is not bulky. I don't think he is bulky, and I don't think McMeghan thinks he is either regardless. I mean, it's tough to decide whether to Earthquake here and risk a potential roll, or go for a Stone Edge. I know I had a situation similar to this, whether to go for knockoff on a Torn or go for an Icicle Crash. But yeah, McMeghan chooses to go for the Earthquake, the roll, and it does hit, it does KO the Volcarona. So he did not risk the Stone Edge miss, Rock Slide miss. I mean, Rock Slide's weak on Doug Trio, but yep, McMeghan takes the black and white game, and I'll be back for the next game, which I presume will be ORAS. What's up, guys? We're back again for game 2, and they're playing the ORAS game. McMeghan has brought, and actually both of them have brought sand teams using Tyranitar as their sand setter. And PDC has a fairly standard looking build from him with Mega Venusaur Sand, which is a little interesting. McMeghan has got Alakazam, Charizard, and Keldeo, a little more offensive. I mean, PDC does have his Latios and his Keldeo, but McMeghan has the Charizard, PDC has the Venusaur, and then PDC has Skarmory as well. McMeghan has Clefable, which can kind of fit on this more offensive team of McMeghan's. So we actually see PDC leads off with the Tyranitar, and McMeghan leads off with the Alakazam. Looking at how weak PDC's team is to Mega Alakazam, I mean, this isn't Mega Alakazam from McMeghan, but that has to be Choppletar, yup. And there we see the Choppletar. PDC goes straight for the Pursuit and removes the McMeghan. That was a really, really good lead for PDC, because, I mean, that had to be Choppletar, and the only way to safely play around that Alakazam was to switch it in on a Shadow Ball or Psychic, which is really, really risky, or sack something and then bring in T-Tar to remove the Alakazam. So it was really good for PDC that he could remove that Alakazam turn 1. He really needs Choppletar on this team to take on Alakazam. McMeghan brings in his Charizard. This is I could see it being Zardax, but this is most definitely Zard Y. Just with the T-Tar, Excadrill stuff, it has to be Zard Y. It just fits with the build, and he could probably Mega here and go straight for a Solar Beam. He might try to predict Latios, and that would be really interesting if McMeghan predicted Latios, but I don't think he has any need, although it might help him get a better head start. So, seems as if, I don't know who's taking their time right here, but PDC probably wants to save his Tyranitar for sure. Getting up rocks later would be useful, although he can't really keep them up in face of that Excadrill. The T-Tar still provides sand, and you don't want to rely on your opponent's sand when Excadrill is such a huge threat to the opponent's team, and you have a Skarmory for McMeghan's Excadrill as well, so you're not as worried about that. If you can remove this Charizard, Skarmory puts in a ton of work, especially with Venusaur, because that Keldeo, unless it's getting like Scald Burns and crits and sands or something to stop Synthesis, like this is looking really, really good for PDC. Seems like PDC is the one taking his time right here. I don't know, I think switching to Latios is, the thing is, this Charizard is the way McMeghan is going to win. I think this has to be the way McMeghan's going to try to win this game, because it just nukes everything on PDC's team in Sun. Assuming he can remove the Latios, and he does have a T-Tar to trap the Latios. He does have a Clefable, which very solidly counters the Latios. But yeah, PDC just goes straight into the Latios, and McMeghan goes for the Solar Beam, gets a crit. That might matter in the long run if PDC goes for an attack, takes Life Orb, or if rocks go up and then McMeghan can Fire Blast the Latios on the switch and remove it. Solar Beam is a little bit annoying to the Latios, but this is a really tough turn for PDC because he needs to keep this Latios around. Otherwise, his only way to take on that Charizard is with Sand. And then unless his Excadrill is Air Balloon, which, I mean, PDC loves to use Life Orb Excadrill. And if he's not Jolly, then it's kind of risky to stay in against McMeghan's Excadrill regardless. And that Excadrill on McMeghan's team, I'm thinking, is Air Balloon. So, I don't know, you really don't want to be relying on Sand and Keldeo in the Sun to take on Charizard. And Stealth Rocks is not really a consistent way to beat McMeghan's Zardwai when he does have an Excadrill to spin, and T-Tar is your rocker. So I really think he needs to keep this Latios until he can get at least one more kill, then he can kind of grab the advantage with Excadrill, and that should be enough to win the game against the Zardwai. But yeah, this Zardwai is really tough. Something we might see come into play is if PDC never Mega Evolves his Venusaur and utilizes Chlorophyll. That would be really interesting. But I kind of doubt that scenario would come up. But we actually see PD go into his Tyranitar. Pretty good play. Mainly because like the chance of McMeghan going for the Focus Blast was so low right there. And I mean, you also get up the stand if McMeghan does try to stay in. But it also accounts for the T-Tar switch. I guess he did not expect Clefable. I don't think he'd want to go into T-Tar and set up rocks on the Clefable. It doesn't really seem like a great idea to me, especially if you're going to go into Drill after that and then have face McMeghan's most likely Air Balloon Excadrill is what I'm thinking. But we see T-Tar versus T-Tar. McMeghan's has to be his rocker. So I'm not sure if both are bulky. I'm not sure how much Stone Edge does to both Tyranitars. Actually, I've never thought about Stone Edge versus Stone Edge. I think it's I mean, it's probably a fine play for PDC. Oh, yeah, I was thinking it might be a fine play for PDC to go into his Excadrill right there, since the chance of McMeghan crunching was kind of low, and I really doubt that he has Superpower or the very odd Earthquake. PDC drops a sorry, but I'm sure inside he's glad that that Stone Edge missed. It probably would have taken T-Tar out if I think about it, because that Tyranitar, like, McMeghan's team is just so much more offensive. This could just be like a jolly offensive rocker for McMeghan. So that might have been able to kill PDC's T-Tar, depending on his Chople set. Like, I know I run relaxed T-Tar, so that Stone Edge would not be able to kill probably. But yeah, that is Balloon Drill, and PDC's is Life Orb Drill, as I expected. So McMeghan definitely has the advantage here. And PDC just goes straight into Skarmory. This is the thing I don't like about Skarmory versus Charizard Excadrill teams. I just, like, Skarmory just invites the Charizard, and Excadrill is so annoying because if you don't have a Rocky Helmet on your Skarmory, then this Excadrill just literally just spins for free on the switch in, and then switches out, as the Skarmory probably doesn't even have Stealth Rocks and probably has Spikes. So if they have non-grounded mons that really pressure your team, Skarmory is just like so passive. It can hurt a lot in that sense. But we actually, oh my god. So we see PDC goes for the Whirlwind as McMeghan brings in his Tyranitar, and in comes the Zardwai. I think PDC is slipping a little bit here, because now this Zard can really put in a lot of work. I'm not sure. Sorry about that, guys, got interrupted, but PDC brings in his Tyranitar. I didn't think he would go to his Latios right there. But McMeghan tries to catch the Latios and goes into his Tyranitar. I guess that also works out because McMeghan's Tyranitar versus PDC's Tyranitar is a somewhat favorable position for PDC. And right here, I really don't think PDC should or would stay in. PDC could hypothetically go to Specs Keldeo and just click Hydro Pump. I don't think Clefable doesn't really switch into Specs Hydro. And Zardwai, he just goes for the oh my god. That did so much damage. That has to be Choice Banded. Oh, Stealth Rock's Clefable. I don't know why I didn't think about this. But McMeghan's Clefable has to be Stealth Rocks, and that I can't imagine that's not Choice Banded T-Tar. And we see a really, really good play by McMeghan here. He goes into his Zard, expecting the Excadrill, I have to assume, because, like, I don't know, I feel as if PDC should be going to his Excadrill directly from his Tyranitar. I mean, Skarmory makes some sense, but it's just so passive. Like, you really can't use Skarmory passively in this game versus McMeghan when he has a Zardwai. And rocks are not gonna help you when they have an Excadrill that's Air Balloon. Like, it's not even Life Orb. It's not like you have a Rocky Helmet mod. Like, I feel as if PDC is slipping a little bit here. This is really tough for PDC. McMeghan is definitely playing this well. His timer is counting low though. But PDC definitely still has a really solid shot at this game just because how well his team matches up with Drill in the sand versus McMeghan, assuming he can pop the opposing Drill's Air Balloon and T-Tar. But oh yeah, I was thinking Focus Blast. PDC goes into his T-Tar on the Focus Blast. Well, like, on the bright side, McMeghan does have his own Tyranitar to set up sand. But I just don't like it. But the thing is, okay, so he goes straight into, whoa, that did such little damage. Like, I think Specs Hydro would be able to KO Keldeo, like, a resist to Specs Keldeo's. I don't know, I guess I'm a little rusty on my damage calcs. But that does a lot less than I expected. I can't imagine that Specs. You know, I just have to count this. Keldeo versus Keldeo. Yeah, that's definitely not Specs. I don't know, it didn't feel like Specs, but I feel as if his team should be Specs. I guess it's Scarf? I mean, Scarf Keldeo on this team was a little iffy. It could be... It has to be Scarf, like, unless you're Expert Belt and you're playing this bluff really, really well, and you're risking these Hydro Pumps. Like, I don't know, Specs Keldeo just makes more sense to me in PDC's team. I mean, Scarf is justifiable for sure, because you don't want to rely on Drill for all your revenge killing, but I mean, I don't know, I feel as if it should be Specs on this team, but I'm guessing this, TDK was saying earlier to nickname the Keldeo after Tisung, and PDC named it Tisung Luck. That's kind of funny, but I guess PDC does not want to risk the Hydro Miss and goes into his Venusaur, so I guess it's going to count out that scenario of utilizing Chlorophyll like I previously said. If PDC, nah, there's no way PDC is not going to not Mega. I mean, there's no way PDC is not going to Mega Evolve. I mean, this is so tough for PDC. I feel like he's definitely slipping here. McMeghan is playing this really, really well. Hold on, guys. I need to get a charger for my computer. I'll be right back. Alright, guys, so we're back. The Venusaur went for the Synthesis as McMeghan brought in his Zardwai. And PDC switched out his Venusaur into the Latios. McMeghan went for the Flamethrower, did not kill. PDC goes for the Calm Mind on the switch to McMeghan's Civitar. Alright, so I'm a little curious why he didn't go to Clefable, since Latios would take Life Orb damage, and then he can also get up Stealth Rocks, but I guess Clefable invites the Excadrill, so that's kind of well played. Although I don't like how he's setting up Sand, which means Excadrill can hypothetically get one more kill before Zardwai comes in. But the thing is, at this point, like, PDC was up 6-5, so if McMeghan and PDC played a trade, oh, what the? So PDC goes for the I don't understand that play at all. I guess he was hoping for a Stone Egg? Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, at all. The only way that would make sense to me is if PDC is trying really, really hard to preserve this Tyranitar, so that he can utilize extra sand. It just doesn't make sense, because now the sand is in control of McMeghan. And what I was saying earlier is that when PDC was up 6-5, if they played a trade killing war, PDC would hypothetically win that. Now McMeghan does have more control over the weather, since his big threat is the weather setter, whereas PDC has to set weather with T-Tar and then go to drill. Oh my god, we see focus hash Clefable, so I guess McMeghan was really prepared for an offense team. That's an understandable choice, because I mean McMeghan's team is so offensively oriented. And the Excadrill is just gonna kill this Clefable. Zard Y comes back. I think PDC just kind of dropped this game. Like, if he also went for the synthesis on the Keldeo, like, oh my god. I feel like as if PDC was definitely just playing a little too carefully with his Excadrill when he really needed to pressure McMeghan's team early on. Like, on those turns with T-Tar versus T-Tar, I feel as if PDC it just went straight to his drill, like, then he could get that kill, rather than on turn 21 where he's lost 2 Mons, his T-Tar and his Latios, which are really important for the Zard Y. Like, now McMeghan just overpowers with Zard Y. I think Zard can probably just stay in and win by itself right here at this turn, because PDC's Keldeo isn't even specs and Sun is up. Like, he can't even kill the Zard. It's Flamethrower, it's not gonna miss Fire Blast. Skarmory is gonna get roasted. Venusaur is not really doing much. I guess they could tank one and Sludge Bomb, but I mean, where are you going there? And McMeghan has Sand under his control. He saved his Excadrill's Air Balloon, so Keldeo's not going to win against McMeghan. And Keldeo's not going to win against McMeghan, and because McMeghan can set up the Sand and then beat PDC's Excadrill with his own drill. And it's really tough for PDC. He can't use a Skarmory to counter drill effectively, because that just invites Zard again, which gets another kill. And like the turn where it was Keldeo versus Keldeo, and PDC switched his Keldeo into his Venusaur, I really didn't like that turn, like, cause I feel that that turn was just like the slipping, like.
The government, communications, society, you have been destroyed. You have been destroyed.
So PDC just manages to make up for all of the ground he lost in losing T-Tar and Latios by flinching that Zard. Yep, McMeghan goes into his Excadrill on the Iron Head, but now he loses his Balloon. The thing is, Venusaur is now setting itself up to be a big threat. Now, this has to be Jolly Balloon Drill, because like PDC loves Excadrill so much. I can't imagine McMeghan would use Adamant Drill against PDC. PDC can't go to his Skarmory. If you go to Skarmory, you're just... like, Skarmory is something you need to sack at this point, in all honesty, because it gives... unless you're gonna spam Whirlwind, and even if you spam Whirlwind, what if he doesn't go to Zard Y, and you Whirlwind out the Zard? Then the Zard gets a free roost, you're screwed. Like, you have to flinch it again, like, it's not happening. Unless, of course, you pull another Jirachi. Man, PDC with the flinch is almost perfectly on point today, but the point is, if McMeghan loses his Zard, he just flops over to Venusaur. Oh my god. He just flops over to Venusaur. Keldeo is now looking the bigger threat because that Zard is weakened. Now that Excadrill has lost the Balloon, PDC can win with his own Excadrill, hypothetically. He does have 4 Life Orb hits, and he should be able to oh, there we go. So yeah, PDC, I really think PDC did have to stay in with his, I can understand, PDC had to stay in with his Excadrill on McMeghan's Excadrill, because like, going Skarmory, are you gonna double? Like, it's so odd. But now PDC is in a tougher spot. He can go to his Keldeo. Oh, does Secret Sword kill Zard Y at this range? That's important. Let's calc Zard Y. Charizard Y. Oh, you drought wall breaker, and this is not Specs, this is Scarf. Or whatever, say Jeff, it doesn't matter. Oh, it has a roll. It's like a mid-roll to kill that Zard with Secret Sword. PDC is going to Keldeo. I'm assuming he's going to Secret Sword on, I guess, McMeghan's own Keldeo. That seems kind of useless at this point. Although he could just go T-Tar. I could see McMeghan going T-Tar here, going back into Drill, and then trying to roost with his Zard on the Skarmory. I could see that. I could definitely see that happening, but he has to be really careful then to not take damage with his Zard and let Keldeo sweep him in the end. Because then he'll eventually lose his Sand, which means Drill can't revenge the Keldeo. And then if PDC can kill if PDC weakens Zard to the point where Keldeo can kill it in Sun, then PDC can win this game. Those flinches were insane, but yeah, this is not Specs Keldeo. If it was, this game was, yeah, okay. He does choose to go to his Keldeo and sack that. So I'm curious here whether he will go Zard. Like, if you're gonna go into Tyranitar, why wouldn't you go straight into Tyranitar? Which means that McMeghan's probably gonna go into Zard Y here and risk the roll. But I really think you should have. I feel as if McMeghan would not do that, because McMeghan's the kind of guy who would want to roost up with his Zard on the Skarm, but he does go Zard. So I guess this is a moment of truth whether PDC gets that roll or not. If he does get the roll and kills the Zard, he will win the game. And if he does not get the roll, I think this should be a roll. I don't think I counted wrong. I don't know. I feel as if McMeghan was a little bit... Oh my god. So we see the Zard lives at 1%. That must be crushing for PDC. They get to kind of lose, be such a dominating position turn 1, and then just lose his T-Tar and his Latios, and then pull it back with the flinches on the Zard, and only to leave it at 1%. It's just crushing. Venu can live a flamethrower for sure, but that damage, oh my god, that damage. If this Venusaur just didn't Mega Evolve, oh, if this Venusaur didn't Mega Evolve, it would have Chlorophyll this turn. Like, okay, the thing is, if this, okay, so if McMeghan gets damage on this Venusaur with the flamethrower, as he does right here, does a solid 73%, Venusaur finishes the start off with the Sludge Bomb, T-Tar comes back in, goes for the Banded Crunch, I assume. Would Skarmory be able to outstall Banded Crunches? Assuming it's faster, which I doubt it is. Oh, Venusaur goes for the Giga Drain, but that's, yeah, Banded Crunch right there. Venusaur did outspeed the T-Tar, so it's not Jolly Tar. Oh, can Skarmory outspeed? Oh. Yes! Skarmory does outspeed the T-Tar, and holy, that Crunch does a ton. Now, are we going to see defense drops? That's really the key. And does the Skarmory have a way to even kill this T-Tar? It probably can utilize Hazards plus Whirlwind. Oh my god, yes, there's spikes. And he gets down to that Crunch. Shucks. So we will be seeing McMeghan versus PDC. Sorry, oh my god. So we will be seeing McMeghan versus Tsung in the finals of Smogon Tour 20. Both of them have won one Smogon Tour before, which means we are going to see someone, either McMeghan or Tsung, get their second Smogon Tour trophy. It's definitely going to be an very exciting series. Very well played by PDC, I think. But McMeghan played really, really well this series. I think he deserved the win just the way he played. Was really well in my mind, although I think risking the roll on Zard was a little iffy at the end. I guess McMeghan did realize that he should probably keep his T-Tar to go for the Banded Crunches later on, although I was thinking more about winning with Zard than Drill. I don't know, like, if he kept his Keldeo though, then if he weakened the Venusaur with that flamethrower, I think McMeghan was... It's tough whether to risk the roll or to try to find a way to not risk the roll. It really is tough. But I think McMeghan played it really, really well. And so did PDC, but McMeghan came out on top, so he'll be in finals. And I guess I'll see you guys for finals, so see you guys later.